Hello everyone, welcome to Sulfursoft. Today we are going to develop a very exciting game using the reactjs hooks. And the name of the game is Tic Tac Toe. But it will not be a normal tic tac toe where we use to compare X and O alphabets. Here we are going to compare images of Batman and Joker. Actually, I have also upgraded the game with many features. I am going to give the demo of those features, then we will learn how we have implemented that thing. Like this, if someone will win, then the victory sound of that one will come. Like this, Batman wins. Similarly, if I'll go to the start of the game again and I'm going to make the Joker wins, then a horrible sound of laugh will come. Like this. There is another feature of background music as well. I have implemented this background music using new hook. So we are going to develop the new sound hook to implement the background music as well. For example, I'm going to make some moves so I can also go toward the back move as well. I'm going to the move number 2 so that I can change my move in the future. Here I have implemented the social media links of my profile and the link of the tutorial as well and the link of the GitHub profile. There is another feature in it. When I'm going to inspect it on the mobile devices, then the layout will be totally adjust or totally changed according to the mobiles. So I have used media queries in it. There is another feature which I want to show. If no one will win, then it will be written that it is draw. Mean it will compare the images and say that no one has won. Like I am going to make it happen that no one will win. Yes, it is draw. Now, this app is running on the localhost local server. We are going to learn how to deploy the app on the live server so that you can share the link with your friends and with other one that you have developed a game like this. This is the link where I have uploaded or deployed this game and you can play the game live on this link. The game is being played similarly just like the local host. Let's start. I am using VS Code. You can use any other editor. Before starting, there is another prerequisite. We have to install Node.js for the package manager or we can use Yarn as well. I have installed Node.js. Now I'm going to start create new React app using the terminal. We'll open new terminal. Here I'll write npx create React app and I'll name it as Batman versus Joker. It will install few packages and will take some time. React app Batman versus Joker has been created. Now I am going to the folder where the app has been created, Batman versus Joker, and I'll start the server. npm start. You can see server has started and there is a logo of React and some text here which we will edit. I'm going back toward the VS Code and I'm going to open the folder so that I can edit the code. So where exactly is this Batman versus Joker here? In SRC, I'll go into the app.js. I'm going to remove everything and say, for example, h1 tag hello world. So let me see whether the changes are depicting or not. Here you can see our app is working fine, but I am removing unnecessary things like app CSS, this logo. I'm going to remove last name because I'm going to use styled component. I'm going to delete this file. I'm going to delete index.js because we will start from the scratch. I'm going to delete a logo file. I'm going to delete it, and I'm going to delete these two files because I'll not use it into the code. Here I'll go into the app.js. I'm going to remove it because I'm not using it. I'm going to remove it as well. I'll keep it simple. So again, I'm going to refresh that whether I have crashed anything or not. Logo.svg, where I'm using it. Yes, here I'm using it. Yes, and I have removed everything. Control S, save. After removing the files, still our application is working and showing hello world. Now I am going to tell you the concept of state and props. For example, this is index.js. It is rendering the app.js. Inside it, there is app.js. We are going to make a game. This app.js will contain a component called game.js. Inside game, there will be the board component, and inside the board, there will be the basic building block which will be called square.js. Square.js will be the basic building block of the board, and the board will make the game, and the game will be comprised of all the components like buttons, like sound system, like background music, and this will be contained by app, and app is contained by index.js, which is rendering all these components onto the DOM. To pass events or to pass data from parent to child component, props are used. Like this, I'm going to write props here. Props. Every component must have some props, or these are the shortest form of properties. These props always come from the parent component. Board will pass the props from board to scare. Then props will be passed from game to board. Then props will be passed from app to game. So it is just like a waterfall. Properties or props are falling from parent component to the child component. They cannot be changed by the child component. For example, if a prop is coming from the board component to the scare component, then scare component cannot change that prop. There is another concept in React.js that is called state. What exactly is the state? State is just like a private variable inside the function. There are some public variables and there are some private variables. State is just like the private variable of a function. It cannot be modified or changed by the parent component. State is used to manage internal data of the component. And whenever the state changes, then React.js get alerted that something has changed and it will dig out which component has changed its state and it will re-render that component only. Instead of re-rendering the whole DOM, it will re-render only that component whose state has changed. I'm going to develop two components. One will be the parent component and other one will be the child component. Parent.js and the other one will be child.js. Going to write code for the child component, import React from React, and I'm going to make a function based component whose name will be child, and I'm going to use ES6. It is receiving some props. And here in the anchor tag, which type of props it is receiving? It will be receiving, for example, name from the parent component. I'm going to write parent component, which will be the class-based component. There are two type of components in React.js. One is class-based component, and the other one is function-based component. I'm going to write import React from React, and I'm also going to import component for the class-based component. This class parent extends component render the component. In the return statement, I am going to use the child component, and from where I am going to use that child component, I'll import it. The child component has been imported, and the syntax I'm going to use is JSX. It is the special syntax developed by the React.js. I want to pass the property like name property from parent component to the child component. So I will write it name component. For example, I'm writing it Shah. This component will be rendered inside app.js. But before rendering, I will import it from where I have developed it like this. Export default child. Similarly, I'm going to export default parent. Shahab is showing here. Second concept in React is state. State is just like a private variable of a function. It cannot be changed by the outside component. And state is used to manipulate or change the data from inside the component. Let me give you an example. State is defined with the word state. It is just like an object in the JavaScript. And I'm going to define the state as, for example, name is Shahab. This is the state dot name. I'm passing this state variable name to the child component property name. So let me see. Again, it is rendering the same. We can change the state from inside the component. How we can do this? For example, I'm defining a function here, and state can be changed by using set state. Whenever a set state is called inside React component, then React will understand that something has changed and it will only render that component instead of rendering the whole DOM. Changing the state name from Shahab to Lagari. And I will declare a button. I'll declare an on click event, and on this on click, whenever someone will click, then the state will change from Shahab to Lagari. And I'm saying change name. Let me, yeah, change name Lagari. You can only define state in the class based component. You cannot define the state inside function based component. But there is a new concept that is called hook inside React, in which we can also declare and use and set state inside the function based component. Develop a folder in src folder with the name components. In that, I'm going to create files game.js. The second one will be core.js, and third one will be square.js. Now I will develop the square component. I shall import React from React. It will be named as square. It will take two props. Number one will be the on-click prop from the parent component, and number second will be the value prop. After taking these two props, it will turn a button whose value will be the value prop which it is going to take from the parent, and whose on-click event listener will be the on-click prop which it is going to take from its parent board or game component. I'm going to export it for default square. I'm going to import square from components, that is from square. But I want to change the state or change the value of square whenever I will click on it and convert it into the class component so that I can use some states component. Here class app extends component, and I'm going to move it from here, and I'm going to render some return statement here. Here I am going to take square, and square is going to take two props on click prop, and other one will be the value prop like this on click prop, and the value prop like this. So what I am going to do, I'm going to introduce a state where I'm going to tell it that for example value is x, and I'm going to incorporate a function that will say this dot set state. It will change whenever a square will be clicked. This function will be executed and it will change the value to O, for example. And here, and this dot handle click, and the value will be this dot state dot value. Let's see how it will look like. Sorry for that. I've used equal to sign instead of colon. This should be in the curly brackets. So let's see what happened. Here we have one square with the value x. When I will click on it, the value has been changed. On this stage, I shall explain the concept of hooks. With the power of hook, I can use the state inside function-based component. So far we have seen that state can only be used in class-based component, but now I'll show you the magic of hooks. For this purpose, I'll use state hook. There are many hooks in React.js. Use state, use fact, use reducer, use context, and many other customized hooks can also be developed. Just like in this tutorial, we are going to develop a use audio hook to play the background music, but in later section we'll define that. But at this moment, I'll only explain the use state hook. As the name show, it will define the state inside function based component, just like the class based component. So first I'll convert it into the function based component. Const app, I'll remove this, and I'm going to remove render. So I have converted it into the function based component. I have converted it into the function based component. Now I'm going to use state hook. Just like state defined in the class based component, we have defined a value state, and how to change this value state, we are using set value, and we are using use state and initializing it with the x. Similarly, just like we initialized the value with the x in previous class based component, instead of this dot set state, I'm going to use set value, which is this one, and I'm going to change it with O, and I'm going to remove this, and instead of this dot state, I'm going to now I have converted it into the function based component and used state inside that by using the hook. Now I will see whether my program is running or not. I'm going to refresh it. Yes, program is running similarly just like the previous one. Let's start styling of the component. I shall use styled component for this purpose. Styled component is a library with which we can use CSS file inside the JS file. We can make styled component like this. I'm going to show you the demo. I shall style square component. For this purpose, I'll import styled from styled component. I'm going to beautify the button component by using the styled components. Look at here. I'm defining another button component and I'm going to use style dot button. Whichever component you want to style, you will use it here and define your own component. It will make sense when I'll go further. So background color. I'm going to take it RGBA 250.8. Border 5 pixels solid and it will be a black color. A box shadow 0 0 10 9 ECAED and text line will be. I'll use this button component here. But it is very much simple to use styled component. Let's see how our app will look like. Look at here, our styling has been implemented a little bit. Now I'm going to develop a grid here. Import style from styled component. I'm going to develop a grid. CSS grid will be utilized here like this, and display will be grid and grid template columns will be repeat 3 columns like this, and I'm going to use grid here. It means I am going to develop a grid of 3 columns. I am going to use 9 squares. Sorry, the spelling of repeat. Look at here. I think these are not 9. These are the grids. Now I am going to change the width and height of the grid. Look at here. We have developed a grid of 9 squares and I'm going to click it and it is changing its state by using the hooks. Now what I'll do, I'll go to the board component and I'll develop it. It will be just like similar app.js. So I'll copy all these thing into the board and change it as board component. It is set values similar. It is similar. Here I'm going to change the import square. So default board, and I'm going to make it simple component and going to import board from component folder like this, and here I'm going to remove everything and board. I'm going to simplify the app component to save it. Let's see how our application is looking now. Still, our application is working. Now I'm going to define the game component. So, which type of props will board component get from its parent game component? There will be two props. One will be the squares like this, and second one will be the click prop. On click prop, whenever we'll click on the individual square, then what will happen? I'm taking everything of board component from here to game component. Here I'll take board component, the board. At this moment, I am removing styling. I'm going to give it the name game. It is not taking props from anywhere because it is the parent component at this moment. I'm going to define value and set value here. And I'm going to use only division, take board, um, board component, and board component will take two props. One will be the squares and the other one will be the on click. So on click is equal to handle click function. And how we can provide the squares, we shall see that. First, I'll change board component a little bit. I'm going to remove these two things because I have defined it inside the game component. Grid will be defined like this, and whatever the squares it will receive as a prop, I'm going to map it taking individual square and its index and going to return the square component whose key will be the I and value will be the square value which we will receive from the game component, and on click prop and on click prop like this, on click from the parent, but here on which square or on which index the user has clicked. I'm going to remove it. I think there's one bracket missing. Yes, this one was missing. Okay, we have defined board component and we are taking props from the parent components. Here I am going to do export default game. So far we have given only one prop to the board, but board needs two prop. One is on click and the other one is squares. So I have to provide squares, and what it will be? It will be here. I'm going to use square here and set squares here. I'm going to provide this value, but this is only one string and it is not what on which we can iterate through map function. So we will use array and array of 9 items filled with the null value. So this syntax will define an array of having 9 values and every value will be null, and this will be given to the squares and these squares will be given to the board. and board will render square. I'm going to define an other state which will say whether X is the next or not. When we click on the board, then this state will define that whether X should be printed or O should be printed. So set X is next. I'm going it to true. It means X is next. So here I'm going to define the handle click function. It will take the index of square on which user will click. So what it will say in this, I'm going to have a copy of squares. Here spelling is not accurate. So I'm going to slice. What it means, we are going to create a copy of this 9 element array and saving it into the variable squares copy. What exactly is the benefit of it? This is called the concept of immutability. If I'll change directly inside this, then I won't be able to revert back to the same array. But when I will create a copy, then whatever I'll change, then original array will remain the same. This will benefit us when we will move forward in the game development and incorporate the logic of time travel. For example, I have made a move 5 to 6 moves inside the game and I want to go back to the move third. Then there will be the benefit of using copied array instead of mutating the original array. So immutability has lot of benefits. That is why I have used the copied version of these squares. I'm taking the copy of square and on which index the individual user has clicked, and I'm checking X is next. If it is true, then print the value X, otherwise print the value of O, and set squares as square copy and set X is next as not X is next. If we have played a move and that move is X, then it should toggle its move to O by using this not statement. It means it will become false. X is not next. There should be O in the next move. It is saying this. Now I have incorporated it here. Square is now this square copy and this is okay. So here is the spelling mistake, SQUA. So I'm using board component here. I should use game component instead of it because everything is defined inside game now. Let's see how my app is looking now. Yes, XO, 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 X is working fine. Let's move forward toward calculating the winner, who is going to win and who is going to lose. I'm going to define a helper function which will calculate who is going to win and who is going to lose and whether the game is draw or not. Helper function.js. Before going to define helper function, I want to explain some concepts of winner and loser. Here is the board having 9 values starting from the 0. Anyone who will acquire these position will win. Similarly, anyone who is going to acquire these position will going to win. Similar for these. These are for horizontal position. If X will acquire these places, then X will be the winner. Means 0, 3, 6. If X will be available at 0, at 3 and 6, then X will be the winner. Similarly for these vertical positions, if any player acquire position 2, 4, 6 diagonally, he is going to win. Similarly, 0, 4, 8 is the position where if X will be present, it will be the winner. I'm going to define a calculate winner function which will take squares and compare those squares and tell us that who is going to win and who is going to lose. In that, I'm going to define an array which will define the position where a player can win. These are the positions 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. These are the horizontal, and already I have defined some vertical and diagonal position. I'm going to write the indexes of those positions 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. These are the horizontal position. Now I'm going to define the vertical position where someone can win 0, 3, 6, 1, 4, 7, 2, 5, 8. 0, 3, 6, 2, 4, 7. It is 1, 4, 7, 2, 5, 8. 1, 4, 7, 2, 5, 8. And what was the diagonal position? These are 0, 4, 8, 2, 4, 6. Let me recheck it. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 0, 3, 6, 0, 3, 6, 1, 4, 7, 1, 4, 7, 2, 5, 8, 2, 5, 8, 0, 4, 8, 0, 4, 8, and 2, 4, 6. These are the position where a person can win. I'm going to iterate on overall board to check who is going to win. For this purpose, I'm going to define a for loop. I is less than line start length and I plus plus. In that, I'm going to use array destructuring. I'm going to save the elements in the variable abc. For example, a line of 0 is 0, 1, 2, and a will be the 0, b will be the 1, c will be the 2. As soon as the for loop will iterate, then these variable will be these positions where anyone can win. I'm going to compare the squares. If square of a means someone has clicked here, if it is available, and squares of a is equal to squares at position b, it means someone has clicked here, square of a is available, square of position 0 is available, and it is equal to the second one. Then the condition will move forward, and squares of a is equal to squares of c, then we have a winner. On any position, if first element is available and it is equal to the second element, and the second and the first element is also equal to the third element, then we have a winner. Now we want to define who is going to win. Is it X or is it O? So if squares of A is equal to X, then return X. Else if squares of A is equal to O, then return O is the winner. Now we shall check that if every portion of the board is filled with X and O, and none of them is going to fulfill this condition, then we must have a draw. How we can check that every portion of the board is filled? We are going to write if none of the squares dot includes null value, then we have a draw. I'm going to export this calculate winner function. I'm importing calculate winner function in the game component, and I'm going to utilize it here. Constant winner will be equal to calculate winner, and the argument which will be given inside it are the squares, and I'm going to define another variable which is called status, which will tell us that who is winner and who is going to play the next move. I want to show you the current situation of app here. When I am going to click X, I can also click here and print O. Then I can click X and then O. I don't want this behavior. So what I will do, if someone has clicked on the square or winner has been declared, then it should return nothing. Just see what will be the behavior of app now. I'm going to click it again and I am unable to change the value of the same box now. If winner has been declared or there is winner, then status will be equal to winner winner wins. In X wins or Y wins. I'm going to do this. If winner has not been declared, then status will be equal to next move. Who is going to perform the next move? X is next. Whether X is next or not, or O is next, means if there is winner, then it will declare the winner. If there is no winner, then it will going to perform the next move, and next move will be performed by whom? X or O will be declared by this command. There is another thing, that is else if there is winner and winner is equal to what I have defined in it, draw is equal to draw, then status will be draw, like this. I'm going to print the status here by using h5 tag and status. Let's see how our app is working now. X O X O X. I'm not going to perform further operation because X is the winner, but here it is not rendering the winner. Sorry, I have written the status logic inside the handle click function. It should be outside the handle click function like this. Let's see how our app is working now. Next move X. There should be some space. Yes, we have got some space. I can do it like this as well. Yes. Again, X0, XO, XO. O wins. Now I'm going to repeat it X, 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 X wins. And now we should see the draw functionality, that whether it is showing us draw or not. X O X O X O X O X. It is saying draw wins. Mean draw functionality is working. Here just minor modification is required. Here I am saying and winner is not equal to draw. Then this functionality will implement, otherwise this will be implemented. Let's see draw. So far our app is working fine, but I want to implement time travel in my game. What is time travel? Basically, if I want to change some move in the past, then I could be able to do that with a single click. For this purpose I need two states. Number one will be the step, on which step we are, and the number second will be the history, which is maintaining the history of board, which is none other than the squares itself. I'm going to define those two states like this. I'm going to change the squares with the history state and going to call it set history, and the second state will be step number, and here I am going to use set step number, and the initial step will be the 0th step. Whenever we will click on any square, then the step will change and the next step will come. So I am going to define time in history, that in which time of history we are, and it will be history dot slice start from 0 till the step plus 1, step number plus 1. Time in history will be comprised of the steps which we have made so far. For example, I have made 4 steps, then it will be comprised of 0, 1, 2, and 3, these 4 boards. But I want to show the latest board only, mean the 4th board, which is at the step 3rd. Then how can I do that? First, I will grab that current. How I can grab that current board is through this, on which step we are. As I told you earlier about the concept of immutability, if I will change something in the current board in this, then I won't be able to step toward this board when I will be on the future move. For example, I am in the step 5 and I want to move at the step 3rd, then it can only be possible that if I will make a copy of this board and store it into the other variable like this. I'm going to use squares and saving the copy of current board in those squares. I am removing square copy and I am utilizing squares here. Now I will change it as set history and going to merge two arrays, time in history and the squares, which is the copy of current board. What this statement is showing. For example, I have made four moves 0, 1, 2, 3. Then history array like this. Time in history array will be comprised of these four boards 0, 1, 2, 3. But if I will move further and make another move, mean I shall be on the step 4. Then how I can merge this current board with the previous history? This is the code for that one. That I am merging the previous all moves with the current squares. With the step number, it will be set state step number time in history array dot length. Set x is next will remain the same. Now I'm going to define a function will move us back into the history. We'll take the step number on which we want to move set dot step number step and whose turn it will be x next by 2. If the remainder of the step is equal to 0, then it means it will be the turn of x. Now I will render the list of moves which we will render while playing the game. It will take history array and map the step and the move, which is the index, and will return a list key will be move and these will be the list of buttons which when clicked will execute a function which we have defined jump to and it will take us toward the move and the which move I'm going to define a constant destination where we want to go. It will see the move. If there is move, then it will say go to move. If there is no move, then it will say start game. And go to move, which move? The move number. And the button will show the destination where we want to move. Now I am going to change the board. Here the handle click function will be like this. It will take the index of individual button and here I shall write history and the step number. I'll render the list of moves now. It is saying cannot read property. zero of null. Oh, I got the point. Here it is array and I haven't incorporated it inside the array brackets. Let's see. Yes, error has gone, but our moves are not showing. When we are clicking, then we are not getting the output as X and O. Here is the problem. I have to move it from here to here because it is fulfilling the condition and returning nothing. Let me see. Now our app is working, but it is not showing the history. X wins. Let me see why it is not showing the history. List of moves is rendering here. Oh, got the point. This should be the small brackets for returning something. Actually, it was not returning anything. Oh, got it. We have got the list of moves. Now I want to go to the move number 2. It was the move number 2. Here, X was the turn. And I am going, that is my first move. I want to go to the first move. Yes, this was the first move. I want to go to the start of the game. Yes, I am going to the start of the game now. Our app is working fine. Now let's move towards some styling. For styling purpose, I shall implement an other folder will be called theme to provide a global theme to my app. In this, I'm going to develop a file global styles.js. I shall import create global styles from style component. Const global style and create global style. For this purpose, I'm implementing the global styling on the body margin 0 padding 0. Font family will be Roboto. Text color will be at this time white and height will be auto. I'm going to export the global styling. Export default global style, and if I want to implement global style, then I should import it into the app.js global style. It has been imported and this should be the syntax. I'm going to import fragment. Yes, you can see margin 0 and padding 0 has been implemented. It means our global styling has been implemented. Now I want to change the background image. After that, we will implement sound in the game, and after that, we will also import images of the Batman and Joker and give the final touch to our game. I am taking background image from here to the public folder of my project. I shall import this background image in global style. Import background image from public background .jpg. This is the name of the file, and I'm going to say background image will be URL, background image, background size will be cover, background attachment will be fixed, background repeat will be no repeat. Started the server and it is saying that you attempted to import outside of the src directory. Basically, React.js do not allow us to go outside the src directory, but here I am using the public folder to use background image. Now there are two methods. One method is to use eject method and the other one is to use a third-party library called React App Rewired. I have installed the React App Rewired by using the command npm, and here to configure the React App Rewired I have to develop a file in my root directory with the name config override.js. I'm going to develop this file here in the root directory. It is saying that I have to copy and paste this code, but it is incomplete for our requirement. I have already developed this code in my repository reactjs Batman versus Joker, whose link I am going to give in the below description. Copy this code and paste it here. Next, for proper configuration, we have to go inside the package.json and we have to change few lines of code there. There is package.json file. I am changing it with this one and removing the start command. I'm copy pasting the build script and removing the old build script command. Now the third one will be this. Fourth one is eject react script eject, but it is saying do not flip the call for eject script. I'll make sure that this line should not change, it should remain as the original one. Let's see how our app will look like now. Npm start. I executed the command npm start and it is giving error. Let's see what error is this. Cannot find module user this config override the file which we have developed. I have mistakenly pasted the file inside theme. It should be in the root directory as mentioned earlier. I have cut the file from theme and now pasted into the root directory. Let me again execute the command of npm start. It is working fine. Previously it was saying that we cannot utilize the public folder because it is outside the src folder. Now we can utilize the public folder after using the third-party library React App Rewired. Start styling the game component. I'll import style from child component to define a wrapper in which all components will be wrapped. I'll use style division tactics display will be grid column gap will be 0, grid row gap will be 0. Let's wrap everything inside the wrapper which we have defined. Next, I will define the top container which will contain the headings. It will also be the display of grid. It will be comprised of 12 columns. The command is grid template columns, which will be repeat 12 with the one fraction distance, and the gap, grid column gap, will be 0. Let's utilize this top container. Top container will be inside the wrapper. At this time, I'm going to write Arkham. Let's see now how our app is looking like. There is Arkham City and it is not looking good. Let me further style it. I'm going to develop a H2 component. Dot H2. It will be inside top container which will have 12 columns. So I'm going to take few columns from that. So it will start from third column and it will end on 11th column. I'm going to give this H2 component to Arkham City heading into the top container. Okay. Now I want this to be into the middle, so I'll use display flex, and I am going to use a line items center and justify content center. Let's see, it is now in the center. I'm going to increase the font size. There will be 62 pixel, and font weight will be 800, and text transform will be uppercase, and margin will be 0. Font family will be the railway or sans serif. I have copied the color of the text. Let me paste it here. Color has appeared here. I want these to be into the middle. For this purpose, I am going to develop a middle container which will be the same as top container. I'm copying the code, and in this middle container I am going to develop a h5 tag which will be style.h5, and it will take the complete 12 columns. Start will be from the first column and its end will be at the 12th column. Basically it is not 12th, it is 13. These are the lines there will be 13 lines in 12 column container. And next one is I'm going to make it text display and align items center. After that, justify content center, and after that, font size will be 32 pixel, and font width will be the 800. Text transform will be the upper margin will be the 0, or rest of the thing will be same. So I am copying this code and pasting here. Now I'm going to use this middle container, and it will have the h5 anchor tag. Let's see. Look at here. We have got the next move statement here. Yes. Now we want this board to be into the middle one. To make the board into the center, I'm going to define another component called board div, and it will almost be similar like top container and middle container, but there will be a minor difference. It won't have columns, align self center, and justify self center, and I am doing grid row gap 0. Let's see. I'm going to give this board div to the board. Board div, and now board has come into the center. Now I will beautify these buttons. These should come horizontally. Later we will move towards some gaps in between the lines as well. So for this purpose, I am going to define bottom div, which will be the same as middle container and the top container. So I am copying the code from here, and this is I'm going to add grid row gap, which will be the 0. Now I'm going to give bottom. Let's see that. Now it is coming horizontally. I am going to beautify the list and the button as well. Const ul, that will be style dot ul, and I'm going to list style type, which will be none. and I am going to use this UL component here. Let's see. Now the list circles are not showing. Let me beautify the button. Style dot button. Width of the button will be 110 pixel. Height will be 50 pixel. Font size will be 14 pixel. Border will be none and outline will be none. Color of the text will be FFF. Cursor will be pointer and border radius will be 10 pixel, and I have copied the background color. It will be this. Let's implement this button component here. Let's see the app. Look at here, our button is looking now awesome, etc. I'm going to use font awesome icons inside my project. So how to use React.js with font awesome? Let's see. We have to install these packages to use font awesome with React.js. Let's start. PMI. The second one will be, and the third one will be this. Here I am going to define a division which will contain the social media icons. Let's define that division. I shall call it social media div. It will be style dot division, and it will create column start from 1. Will start from 1 and end at line number 3. Margin will be 0. Display will be flex, and align items will be center, and justify content will be center. I'm going to use font awesome now. So I will define social button style dot will be anchor tag, which will contain the link of profiles. Padding will be 8 pixel. Font size will be 20 pixel. Margin will be 5 pixel. Width will be 16 pixel, and height will be 16 pixel. Text decoration will be none. Border radius will be 20%. Color of the text will be white. Color of the icon will be white, and display inside will be flex. Align items will be center. Justify content and will be center. Now I want to use some props inside social button. How can I use props with the style component? For example, it is social button. Whenever I will give it a prop as Facebook, then the background should be Facebook. When I will give it a prop Twitter, then the background should be shown as Twitter's background. How we can do this? For this, I am going to import CSS from style component. So it will be the method to define props inside styled component. Props.facebook, and I'm going to define the CSS for this Facebook prop. Then background color should be this, and the text color should be white. This is the background color of Facebook. Similarly for Twitter and GitHub and YouTube, I'm going to copy it. YouTube and GitHub. For Twitter, background color is this. For YouTube, background color is this. For GitHub, background color is hash triple three. Now I will import font awesome from font awesome React component. To use social media icon, I have to install this package as well, and this one. Both packages have been installed, and I have imported the icons from Font Awesome. So I am going to use it into the top container. Here I use social media div. In that div, I'm going to use icons. I will do social media button, Font Awesome, and the icon will be equal to FA Facebook, and the prop will be Facebook. I am going to define href soon, and target will be underscore blank, mean it will be opened in next tab instead of the current tab. I'm going to copy it, and I'll just type it Twitter, FA YouTube, FA GitHub. Here I'm going to give the prop Twitter. Here I'm going to give the prop of YouTube, and here I'm going to give the prop of GitHub. Let's see how our app is looking now. We have four icons. Let's suppose I'm going to give GitHub a Facebook prop. Then what will happen? Look at here. The background of the GitHub has become the background just like the Facebook. I'm going to revert it back to the GitHub and see. Yes. Here I want a speaker button which I'll utilize to turn on and off the background music. I have also added one more social media link, that is Instagram link, and here I have also defined the props for that one. Here is the link. Now, let me fill it with my social media profiles. For example, I'm opening Facebook. So, this is the link of my profile, and I'm going to paste it here. Similarly, Twitter, for the Twitter, my profile link is this. For GitHub, my profile link is this. I have filled the href with my profile links, excluding the YouTube, where I will paste the link of this tutorial. It is in development, so I'm not going to paste the link here at this moment. This is just for checking. Let's see if I click on my GitHub profile, then yes, my GitHub profile opens. Similarly, if I click on this one, Instagram, then my Instagram profile has opened. I'm going to take speaker button from the font awesome. Import FA volume up from here. Speaker div. I'm going to develop a division for speaker. It will start from line number 11 and will end at line number 13. Its display will be flex. Line items will be center and justify content will be center and margin will be 0. Let's implement this speaker division into the top container. Let's see. Here I am going to use speaker division, and in that I am going to use font awesome and icon will be FA volume up. Here we have got the volume button, but I'm going to make the size 2x. Size has increased. This Arkham City is not showing into the middle as compared to these two. Let me change it. I'm going to change the column. It will start from third column and end at 10th one. Let's see. Yes, now the Arkham City has moved toward left. Let me change the height and width of this board with 350, 50, and I'll say margin dash top 10 pixel. Yeah, there is some margin as well. Let me have more margin. Yes, we have got more margin now. That is 20 pixel. Now if I'll inspect it, then it is not showing good on mobile version. I'm going to use media queries to adjust it onto the mobile version as well. Implement the media query on social media div with the name media minimum width 320 pixel and maximum width 480 pixel. If minimum width will be 320 pixel and maximum width will be 480, mean in between 320 to 480, what I want to implement, I want to make grid column start 1 and grid column end at 12th line, and this is what I want. It should acquire the whole number of column, so it should come in a one row like this. I'm going to see. Let me refresh it. Look at here. It has acquired all the columns. Now I am going to implement this on the heading and speaker button as well. I'll use the same media minimum width 320 pixel and maximum width 480 pixel. Then what should happen? It should have the same feature as we have defined for the social media grid, and I'm going to implement the font size, which should be 32 pixel instead of it, and font weight is 400. Let's see. I think font weight should be 800. It will look pretty nice. Yeah, we have got this. Now I want to remove this speaker button and want to adjust it with this division. How can I do that? I'll do this speaker division. When this will be the width, then display will be none. Let's see. It has disappeared. Now I want to show it here. For this purpose, I am going to define another div that will be speaker div small, and it should be at this display should be flex. I'm going to use everything here because when it will be on the mobile phone, then this media query will activate, and this will be the division which will be implemented on speaker button, and I'm going to use this speaker small division on the speaker button. Speaker division small, and I'm going to copy this here, and I'm going to utilize it here, and size will be 1x. I don't want to utilize it here, but I want to use this with social media div. Then yes, now it has come just adjacent to the other social media icons. Now I want to change the font size of this one as well. It was H5. Yes, it is already the same as this one, but font size and font weight will be changed. I'm going to change the font size 14, 16. Let's see. It has become very much lower. Let's see, it's 20. Yep. And margin dash top 5 pixel. Okay, now I'm going to change the size of this board. Will be width, which will be I think 250 pixel, and height will be 250 pixel. Let's see. Yes, but it is going into the horizontal direction. I'm going to change the button directions. Where is the button? Here's the button. I'm going to use some media query, width and height. I'm going to use these two things. Width should be 60 and height should be 30. Let's see how it will look like. Okay, height 50. And font size will be this. Border radius will be 0 pixel, and font will be 12 pixel. Let's see. Okay, this is looking like a pure square. Let me change the width to 80. Yep, it is looking okay. Now I'm going to give the border radius 5 pixel. Yeah, it is looking a little bit good. Now I shall make the button division vertical instead of horizontal. How can I do that? I'll copy this media query here, and in this I'm going to use grid repeat 3. Mean there will be 3 column in a row. Let's see. Yes, it is coming on to the next line, but still the height is more. I'm going to use 40, and I'm going to use, sorry, not here, here 40, and 70. Let's see. Yes, it has become smaller, and if I'll use 10 pixel font size, then it is very much low. Yes, this is quite acceptable, but still the width is more, so I'm going to use 65. I'm going to use 60. Let's refresh. O has 1 at this time. So I'm going to check on the other screens as well. It is working fine on Pixel 2, Pixel 2 XL, and here it is also okay because we can scroll up and down. Working fine. Seems okay. So our app is working fine on the mobile version. Let me change X and O with the Batman and Joker images. For this purpose, I'll place these both images into the public folder. I'm going to remove favicon, this, this, these files, and I'm going to make a folder whose name is images, because later I'm going to place some sound here as well. So that folder will be the sound folder. Let me move these files into the images. Let's see our app is working or not. Yep, it is saying about the background, so I have to change the image in theme JS, where I'm going images slash, let's see, where I'm going to change it into the public folder, into the images folder, and I'm going to use background.jpg. Let's see. Yep, our app is working fine. Second folder which I'll make in it will be the sounds, the sound which I will implement. So I'm going to use images in place of X and O. First I will change the square component where it is receiving value. Instead of it, it should receive the image. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to define an other constant using styled component, and it will be an image type component, and then border will be, and height of the image will be 100 pixel, width of the image is 100 pixel. I'm going to utilize this image component here. Will take src, and that src will be the value of prop which it will take. Let's see the code component is giving the value which is the square. Let's see the game component. The game component, I'm going to define Joker image, import Joker from public folder, and it will go to the images folder. And here in the images folder, I have joker.png, joker.png, and similarly, I'm going to import Batman PNG or Batman image. Will be public images, and then here we have batman.png, batman.png. I'm going to use it here. It is saying X is next. I will say Joker is next or Batman is next. And what exactly will be the value? Value will be the Joker and Batman image. Let's see our app is running or not. Next move is Joker, but I have to change some code in the calculate winner function and some CSS as well. For this purpose, I'm going to change the calculate winner function. I'm going to import Joker image from public images joker.png and the Batman image. Sorry. Batman.png, and here I'm going to use, if it is Joker, then return Joker. If it is Batman image, then return Batman. Let's see. Still CSS needs to be fixed. Joker wins and we cannot move further. Let's try on the Batman as well. Yes, Batman wins. Let's try for the draw. Oh, sorry. Let's see. Here, here. I'll do this, then Joker will win. Let me do something like here. I want to do this. Yes, it's draw. It's draw. Okay, our app functionality is normal. Let's change some CSS here in the game. It is height and width. I'm going to change height here. Height 100 pixel, and I'm going to incorporate this styling here. These are the inline styling. Okay, let's see what will happen. Now the height is not changing. Batman wins. Now let's inspect the app on mobile. It is fine. Let me change the scare component a bit where I'm going to use media theory minimum width is 320 pixel and maximum width is 480 pixel. Then what should exactly happen? The width pixel and height should be 100 pixel. Let's see what will happen. Yep, although scale has become lesser, let me 120 to make it adjustable according to the mobile screens. I'm going to make it 330. It's 330. Let's see. Yes, the board is now smaller. So I am going to define a new hook for the background music and the voice of Joker and Batman. Here in src folder, I am going to develop a new folder with the name new hooks. All hooks will be placed inside this folder which I will develop. I'm going to develop use audio hook. I'm going to close these files at this moment. I shall import React, use state and use effect hook from React. I'm going to declare use audio function with the argument URL const audio will be equal to use state and it will be a new audio object which will take the argument URL or the music file which we will give it. There will be state playing or set playing which will decide whether the music will be played or not. There will be a toggle function which will toggle in between playing and not playing. It will set playing to the inverse of the current playing state. Now I shall use effect hook which will take a function which will check if the state of playing is true, then audio.play will be executed. Music will start to play. If it is false, then audio.pause will be executed. And when use effect hook will come into action when playing state will change. By default, use effect function will be executed after every render. When render of a component will execute, when there will be a change in any of the state. But we can restrict the use effect hook with respect to the specific state by declaring the second argument inside this use effect, that is the state. If playing state will change, then use effect will come into action. If I won't write it like this, then every time when the component will change its state, any state like audio state or playing state, then use effect function will be executed. If you want to execute use effect one time, then just pass the empty array in the second argument. Why use effect is used and what is the purpose of it? In every component, there are some side effects which are outside the scope of that component. For example, if I fetch a data from an API through an HTTP request, then I am going outside the component and it will be the scope of the outside from the component. Then that will be called the side effect. If I want to manipulate the DOM, then that will be called the side effect. Such type of all activities will be performed in the use effect hook. I'm going to use another use effect hook to check whether the music has been ended or not. When it will be ended, then it will automatically pause the music. I'm going to add event listener on audio that is ended, and when the music will end, then which function will be executed? It will set the playing state to false. Now clearing the event listener on audio state in the return statement. Audio dot remove event listener which we have added on audio. It will set the playing false. Similarly, like above function, use audio hook will return playing state and toggle function. I'm going to export it so that I can use it in the game.js. I am going to import three music files from my desktop to the public sound folder. Here, these three files have arrived. Let me see. Yes, these files have just arrived in the sound folder. Let me import these files into the game component. I'll import audio hook which I have recently defined in the new hooks. Use audio. Then I'm going to import background music from public folder. Then the sound. Then what was the name of that one? Background.mp3. Similarly, I'm going to import Jokerla from public sound folder. And what was it? mjoker. So WAV, and I'm going to import Batman victory sound from. I'm going to use this new hook in my game component, playing and toggle, and this use audio hook was taking URL which was none other than the music file. Here I am going to import another icon that will be FA volume mute. I'm going to utilize the newly defined hook Here I have defined speaker division small and speaker division. Let me use the playing state returned by the use audio hook to render the icon. If it is playing, then this icon will be shown. If it is not playing, then which icon will be shown? The icon which I have recently imported, FA volume mute. And size will be 2x. Similarly, I'll use this here, but size will be 1x, and here the size will be 1x. Let me see how our app is working. To saying this, I think I have done some mistake while importing it. That is sounds. Let me see. It is again saying the same thing. I'm going to import it again, and then the batman.wav. Saved the file. Now let's see. So music is playing, but it is not toggling. Let's see what is the error in the speaker division. Yes, when there will be on click, then toggle function will be executed. Similarly for this one, on click and toggle function will be executed. Let's see what will happen now. Yes, our app is working fine, but this speaker is also showing here. Let me see why it is showing here. Let me define another media query so that I can hide the display when there will be a minimum width of 481 pixel width above than this, then its display should be none. Let's see what happens now. Yes, the speaker button has gone. I'm going to inspect the mobile version. Our app is working fine till now. Now I shall render the sound or laugh of Joker and Batman victory sound. For this purpose, I'm going to develop a new component which will be called audio.js. I shall import React from React const audio. Will take sound prop. It will render audio and will be autoplayed, and source will be I'm going to export it, export default audio. I'm going to utilize this component, import audio from components audio. I'm going to render sound, const render. We'll check if winner is equal to Joker, then it will return audio component with sound prop is equal to Joker laugh, else if winner is equal to Batman, then audio will turn the sound Batman. Let me render it here. Render sound. Let me save it and see what will happen. It is saying Batman is not defined. Hmm, Sorry, it's Batman victory sound. Let's see, this is yes, it is operating. A very horrible sound. Let's start the game again and check whether Batman music is coming. Batman sound is not coming. Let me check. Batman victory. Sing Batman. I have got the point. In else if statement, it is not returning anything. So that is why the sound is not coming. Let me again check. Yes, Batman sound is also rendering. Let me check it on to the mobile version. Yes, it's operating. Yes, everything is working fine now. Deploy my app onto the server. First, I shall initiate a git init command inside the project folder. It will initiate a git file inside it so that I could be able to enable version control in my code. And after that, I will upload it onto the GitHub. Git has been initialized. Now, I will add everything inside that Git file. It has been added. Now I'm going to commit git commit and I'll say complete game. Now I want to upload my file onto the GitHub. For this purpose, I'll go to the GitHub Here on the plus sign, I'll initiate a new repository. I'll name it Batman and Joker. It will be a public repository. Add a readme file and I'm going to create it. Here is the link of my repository. Now GitHub is saying that I will go to the main branch. Although previously it was master, we can also use the master branch, but GitHub has recently introduced the main branch. I'll use the main one, git branch. Now I am on the main branch. Then I'll add my remote repository. It has been added. Now I will use git push -u origin main. I'm going to push my local repository to the main branch created onto the GitHub. Let me do it in this way. So I have used this command to upload my local repository to the remote repository that has been created onto the GitHub, and it is uploading there. It will take some time. Local repository has been uploaded onto the GitHub. You can see here, this is the src folder where my components are showing. Let me see the game.js. Yes. Now I am going to upload it onto the server. I'm using Netlify. I'm going to log in. I have already created an account on it. Here I have to deploy the file which I have created. There are two methods. One method is the manual deploying, and the other one is the new site from the GitHub. I can directly deploy a website from GitHub. I'm going to use npm run build to create a build file of this reactjs project, which will be uploaded onto the Netlify. It will take some time. Here you can see the build folder has been created with images, sound, and all other stuff. Build folder has been completely created. I am going inside the project folder. Here, Batman versus Joker. Here is the build file. I can drag and drop it here. It is uploading. It will take some time. At present, it is saying site has not been deployed. When it will be uploaded, then it will say that it has been deployed and we can see our running version onto the server. The site has been uploaded. Let me see. Our music is also playing onto the main server. Batman won. Batman has won and the music is also coming. Second method for deployment of our web app is directly from the GitHub repository. For this purpose, I will go to the new site from Git. I'll use GitHub option. Here it is showing all repositories. I will select the repository Batman versus Joker, the game which we have developed in this tutorial. And I am going to use deploy site option. It will take some time to deploy.
Site has been deployed. I'm going into the site setting to change the URL. Here I can change the URL using the name Batman versus Joker. Let's go to the URL. Music is coming. Let's play some moves. Yes, Batman has won, and our app is working fine even after deploying from the GitHub. Basically, what exactly is the benefit of using that deployment from the GitHub? Whenever I will change anything in my code, for example, I'm changing the name of the city with the Gotham city, and I will commit and upload it onto the GitHub, then that change will directly be shown into the production environment. Like on this link, the city name will be changed. So this is the benefit, and it is also called continuous integration and continuous development CI/CD. Thanks for watching the complete tutorial. The source code is given into the link below. In next tutorial, I am going to develop Instagram web app by using the reactjs and Django framework. Django will be used as a backend, and on the front end reactjs will be utilized, and they both will be coupled by using the API which I shall develop using the Django REST framework. Thank you.